The Toshiba Libretto holds a special place in laptop history. It was one of the smallest Pentium laptops ever made. While being a capable machine for pure DOS gaming, its diminutive size renders it less ideal for prolonged usage. Moreover, due to its scarcity and high cost, it is better suited as a collectible. Meet the Portege 660. It is about one-third lighter and more compact than most standard-sized laptops back then. Its large dimensions makes it much more usable and practical than the Librettos. The Portege 660 sits in between the Librettos and the Satellite 440 series of the corresponding generation. For me, the 660 CDT offers superior usability compared to a Libretto while maintaining its compact size appeal. Its larger keyboard contributes significantly to its usability. In fact, after less than an hour of use, I forgot that the keyboard isn't a standard size. It just felt natural to use. The inclusion of various integrated ports such as PS2 adds practicality, and the presence of serial and parallel ports allows for connections to MIDI devices such as the S2P from Soundblaster. This is such a contrast to the Libretto, which requires an almost impossible to find port replicator. This Portege is driven by a Pentium non-MMX CPU clocked at 150 MHz with an external 60 MHz bus and assisted by 256 KB of level 2 cache. Featuring an 11.3 active matrix display and sporting a 800 by 600 resolution, graphics is taken care by a Chipson Technologies GPU with 2 MB of memory on the PCI bus. And sound is handled by a Yamaha 711 chip with a true OPL3 FM synth connected on the ISA bus. The laptop comes with 16 MB of onboard RAM, expandable to 80 MB using easy-to-find 3.3 volts EDO RAM SODIMMs. Connectivity is great for its size. We have a serial, parallel, PS2 keyboard mouse combo port and a 15-pin VGA port. On the left side, there are two 32-bit PCMCIA slots, and there's also an external floppy drive connector, which can be useful if you want to use an optical drive simultaneously. In front, there's a microphone, headphone, line-in jack, a rotary volume knob, and a monaural speaker. The modular bay can accept a floppy disk drive, a second hard drive, or an optical drive. Connecting the hard drive via the standard 44-pin IDE connector may be challenging without a retention bracket, but it's not entirely impossible. The BIOS supports only up to 8 GB compact flash disk. You can use a drive overlay to overcome this limitation, but for me, this resulted in corrupt data when moving the disk around on other systems for file transfers. The laptop uses any 15 volts Toshiba power adapter from this era, as long as it can supply at least 2 amps. To enter the BIOS setting, we keep the escape key pressed, followed by the F1 key on power up. We are greeted with the familiar Toshiba BIOS, which offers all the essential settings necessary for DOS gaming, such as hardware video stretching, which maximizes screen display area in pure DOS. There is a very handy throttle setting that can also be adjusted on the fly by cycling through the function and F2 keys combo within any OS. The level 1 and level 2 caches are adjustable and can be set to write through or write back, providing finer control over performance. Lacking the ability to boot from the optical drive, you will either require the floppy drive or need to prepare the hard disk on another system. On the second BIOS page, we find the VGA address settings, which helps for loading drivers and TSRs more efficiently. And next, we have the Soundblaster, Windows Sound System, and MPU 401 settings. MemMaker yields 621 KB of conventional memory and 594 KB with CD-ROM drivers installed. That's plenty for any DOS game. I'll be using 3D Bench and Setmul for benchmarking. The frequency multiplier of the Pentium CPU is locked. However, with Setmul, we can set the branch prediction, code cache, data cache, and the V instructions pipeline flags. Disabling all caches yields a score comparable to a 12 MHz 286. With caches enabled, it delivers unexpected results. Its performance appears to be capped between that of a 33 MHz 486 and a Pentium 60. I'm not sure why this is the case, especially since Speedsys registers a score of 110.2, aligning it more closely to its Pentium 150 CPU. I suspect the graphics subsystem to be the bottleneck in 3D Bench. Nonetheless, it's best to evaluate its performance with real games. But before doing that, we need to configure audio. The Yamaha sound chip is connected via the ISA bus, so we simply need to set the blaster environment variables to match the BIOS settings. Unfortunately, this laptop lacks a built-in hardware wavetable or external MIDI port. If you have a compatible docking station and a port adapter, you will be able to connect an external MIDI module and a game controller with the help of a breakout cable connected to the DB15 port. These additions truly transform the gaming experience. With the integrated line-in connector, the MIDI module output can be merged with internal audio without a separate mixer, and the Yamaha Setup SA utility is used to set various input and output levels. As expected with most Yamaha SA3 sound chip, audio quality is great and compatibility is top-notch with very respectable noise and interference levels. The graphics chip supports full-screen stretching. This is nice, as there's no need for a third-party utility such as VexP.
Infantry out. Reporting. Affirmative.
Enemy unit destroyed.
Now let's dive right into some CPU-sensitive games. Wing Commander, Ultima, and Test Drive 3 all glide along smoothly, offering enjoyable speeds, yet not flawlessly. They all run just a smidge too fast. I've tried other software-based tools such as Throttle, but it does not support this system. As for Mo Slow, certain sections run excruciatingly slow, while in other sections, the games exhibit erratic speeding up or slowing down. For me, it just doesn't cut it. Some games like Gods and Grand Prix may exhibit minor glitches during scene transition fades, but they don't impact gameplay otherwise. Apart from these minor hiccups, it handled the majority of games smoothly. As for 3D games like Quake, do not expect any miracle. It packs just enough power to handle the lower 360x480 resolution, which actually appear quite crisp on the smaller screen. As you can see here, anything above that resolution is not supported. Don't bother about DirectX gaming on the Portege 660. However, Windows 98 is great for file transfers. While I didn't encounter any problems using a PCMCI A2 compact flash or SD adapter, Windows consistently froze when attempting to use my USB PC card. Toshiba has ceased operation of some of the legacy download servers. Fortunately, the default Windows 98 setup already contains all the essential files you need. Alternatively, you can explore the Wayback Machine. Big thanks to one of my viewers, I Am Canon, for sharing this helpful tip. So, to conclude, I think it's unfortunate that the CPU tweaking capabilities are limited. But it is amazing how modular and serviceable it is despite its diminutive size. I really appreciate its compact dimensions, yet remaining very usable, making it easy for me to leave it on my desk. It's also regrettable that it exhibits some glitches with certain games, and performance doesn't quite hit the 33 MHz 386 and 486 marks. So, is this the ultimate DOS gaming laptop? Certainly not. However, there are very few Pentium laptops made in this particular form factor, making the Portege 660 unquestionably worthy of a spot in my collection, and I'm giving it a score of 3.7. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you like this review. See you next time!